Hello and welcome to Mama Marucci's Presents Recipes That Work Every Time. This is an e-recipe video companion for our awesome chewy white chocolate and blueberry cookies. My name is David Malik. I'm the chef and owner of Mama Marucci's, and I'm your host for this e-recipe video. First, before we do anything, we're going to want to preheat our oven. Next, we take a sheet pan, in fact 2 sheet pans, and line them with parchment paper. I'm sure you're aware parchment paper can be found anywhere that they sell good cooking supplies. Next, we'll take a bowl and we're going to mix in our dry ingredients. In this case, there are only 2 ingredients, our flour and, of course, our leavening agent. And the reason why we mix these first is that we want to incorporate that leavening agent into the flour. We don't want to add them separately, but we want to mix it up really well with a whisk. That way, when we add the flour into the batter or make the batter with the flour, it's well mixed and there's no pockets of leavening agent. Now we're going to mix our wet ingredients, and that includes our sugars. Yes, sugar is considered a wet ingredient because when it's heated, it liquefies. So we have the white sugar, we have our brown sugar. We're going to add in a little bit of salt. Now, it's not a wet ingredient, but we put the salt in at this point. And of course, some vanilla extract. We use the real stuff, and I suggest you do as well. Finally, we'll add in a little bit of butter, and we're going to make sure that that's cooled a little bit, but not fully cool. And we're going to take a whisk and mix this up. Now, I want you to notice something here. Is when we mix this up, it goes from being somewhat granular or grainy, as you can see, and in a couple of seconds, maybe more than a couple of seconds, it's going to almost change and turn into a different texture, consistency of caramel-like. In fact, it happened about right now. You see how it kind of changed? A little bit of air gets incorporated and it gets a little bit cooler. And so notice that color right there. All right. Next, we add in our eggs. And we want to get all of the eggs in there, of course. And we're going to take a hand mixer and we're going to mix this up. And we're going to mix it until it changes from that dark, rich brown caramel color to a much lighter color. And you can see as the time lapse goes by how light the batter becomes because air is being incorporated into it and it's also getting a little bit cooler. And as this happens, not only does it get thicker, but it also gets lighter in color and it gets a little bit colder because you don't want a hot batter essentially from the melted butter. So that's the color you're looking for. Next, we're going to add in our flour and leavening agent, and we're going to mix it up with a wooden spoon. I'm actually using a paddle that's used for East Asian cooking, rice in particular. I find that that paddle works a little bit better than the spoon. Now, you don't want to overmix, but you do want to get rid of all of those dry pockets of flour, and you get a cohesive batter. You can see at the bottom there that there's still a little bit of flour, and finally we've mixed them all in. Now we're going to add in our blueberries. And again, we're just going to mix it a couple of times to incorporate the blueberries into the batter to get them evenly spread out. And of course, the same thing applies with the white chocolate chips. Make sure you get them all, and make sure you just mix just barely enough to get them incorporated. You can actually add the blueberries and the chocolate at the same time. I just did it in 2 stages here to split it up. And finally, once it's together, we're now going to take our sheet pans and an ice cream scooper and basically scoop out cookie-sized pieces, 16 in all, 8 on this sheet pan, 8 on another sheet pan, and put them evenly spaced on the sheet pan just like you see here. Once we've done that, we're going to want to press them down or squish them down so that they resemble cookies. But in reality, they are going to resemble more like hockey pucks right now. It's about a half an inch high and I don't know, about 2.5 to 3 inches wide. You decide how large you want the cookies, but these make pretty big cookies. In fact, they'll spread a little bit when we do cook them, or when we bake them, not cook them essentially. Anyway, once you've formed the cookies, this now goes into the oven. Here's what they look like, half baked, no pun intended. We're going to give them a 180-degree turn and place them back in the oven. And in a few minutes, that's the finished cookie. You're going to want to let them cool down. In the meantime, you can brew a cup of coffee or get some milk and enjoy them. They're absolutely to die for. But you got to wait till they cool down. Thanks, and see you later.